E from typing team will present channel assignment and handoff strategies. Channel assignment. For efficient spectrum utilization, the frequency reuse scheme should be consistent with the objective. Firstly, to increase the system capacity, and next, to minimize the interference. Strategies can be classified as two. One, the fixed channel assignment. Second, the dynamic channel assignment. Fixed channel assignment. The channels are pre-allocated to different cells, meaning that each cell is assigned with a specific number of channels, and the frequencies of these channels are set. A call attempt can only be made or served if the unused channel in that particular cell is available. Next, this will explain the characteristic of a fixed channel assignment. If all channels are occupied, then the call is being blocked. This is a very simple channel assignment and it requires least amount of processing. A variation of this method is known as the borrowing strategy. The cells in this strategy are allowed to borrow channels from adjacent cells if their channels are fully occupied while the adjacent cells have free channels. Mobile Switching Center (MSC) will monitor this process and gives permission to borrowing cell to borrow channels and putting in mind that the donating cell will be not affected by this borrowing process, and no interference will occur by moving the channel from one cell to another. Next, the dynamic channel assignment. The channels are not pre-allocated to any cells, meaning that any channel can be allocated to any desired cell during the operation of the system. The white channels are not allocated to the cell permanently. This will explain the characteristic of the dynamic channel assignment. MSC monitors all cells and all channels. Each time a call request is made, the serving base station requests a channel from MSC. Then the MSC will run an algorithm that takes into account the possibility of future blocking in the cell, the frequency being used for channel, and the reuse distance of the channel. Next, the MSC will assign a channel only if it is not used and if it will not cause co-channel interference with any cell in range. This algorithm provides a higher capacity, which means less blocking will occur, but it will require a huge amount of computational power. This means MSC will collect real-time data of channel occupancy, the traffic distribution, and the radio signal strength indicators.
Handoff strategies. What is handoff? Handoff is the process of transferring an active code of the station from one cell to another as the mobile unit moves from the first cell to other cell without disconnecting the call. The amount of received power by the mobile phone or the amount of received power by the tower of both are usually used to determine whether the handoff is necessary or not. Most systems with higher priority to hand off power coordination, it is more annoying to have an active call disconnected than to have a uniform lock. Handoff must be completed successfully as much as possible in a frequency and free time as possible and must be unnoticeable to users. The user should not feel the handoff happen. Handoff process. Process of changing channel and slot spreading to frequency of combination of them which are associated with the current connection while installed distinct software. An off process is initiated by receipt of the handoff request. When the power received by the MS from VS of neighboring cell exceeds the power received from the VS of the current cell by a certain amount. This is known as the handoff threshold and fixed value. For successful handoff request must be tested by the channel before the power received by the MS is the receiving threshold. The area where the ratio of receive power level from the current and the target PS between the handoff and receiver threshold is called handoff area. This is the example for the successful handoff process, and this is the example for the unsuccessful handoff process. Handover of a call may require the following situations. First, when the received signal frame is fed due to deep schedule code, then handover can be used to stop the dropout of the cell if the received signal frame of the neighboring cell is skipped. Okay. The call has been permanently handed over when the mobile reaches the cell boundary. And last, in the system with a based on tuner rearrangement, when it is necessary to use a force and override of an existing call to accommodate a new call or a handed over call.